Hello, Eric Walczykowski here, the CEO of Bespoke Partners and host of Tailored Talent. Today, I am joined by a good friend and new partner, Vivek Batra from Alphaskill. Vivek, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Vivek, maybe we could start off with a softball question. Tell me a little bit about Alphaskill and what you're up to in Europe.
Sure. Alphaskill, the best way to define us, Eric, is we are deal-centric executive search. We only work with mid-cap private equity or private equity. We have 3 offices, Munich, London, Paris, 30 people, work at, what's probably very unique with us. We have this whole deal advisory practice, which is we partner with private equity firms as they start looking at deals and any kind of talent solution, which gives them a deal angle. We work with them proactively on that. And post-search, like you, we do C-suite search, right? Anything that creates value. And these private equity there's a sense of urgency and there's a certain mindset.
No, absolutely. And I think one of the things that has really joined us as we've gotten to know each other is this focus on private equity, being in the flow of deals. For the last couple of years, we've had this propensity of all the deal flows coming back. It's going to start. How are you feeling the market currently is in Europe from what you're seeing?
The same. I think we all lived through it. Second half of 23, first half of 24 has been slower, but it's been upticking already now, Eric. I mean, Europe is good with summer, as you know. We have much longer vacations. Having said that, clients we're working with, partners we're working with, every week for the last 12 weeks, there's a deal being closed. So, you clearly see an uptick in activity. I think that price realignment with the interest rates now being stable or declining in the UK as they've started, that just is making the whole deal pipeline far more active. So we're expecting to see that uptick continue.
No, it's great to hear, particularly given your focus on pre-deal activities or as folks are doing diligence in the LOI. The other thing that I would share anecdotally across my partners in searches that we're seeing in the United States is executives are more scrutinous or even tougher to make a move right now because their company is either in a process or starting a process, which to me is a great sign for the industry and positive hopes ahead. The other thing that I think we've reached the peak of is the cost of capital. And I think the cost of capital is kind of topped out. And I think we're going to start to see deals being able to be priced with some definitive that, hey, it's now the top and it's nowhere but down from here. So it's
very good point, Eric. And in fact, the hardest searches for us are CFO searches, and they remain that. And that's simply because CFOs, the must-have is the proven exit experience. And so the best people are still stuck in their exit experiences. They've got, they're waiting for their exits. But there's a lot of activity. You hear when we're reaching out to CFOs, everybody's prepping. Now, we are hoping we sensed this a little bit last summer, but it never came to fruition. But I think now with, like you said, the cost of capital stable and perhaps declining, that will drive the deal flow, right?
No doubt. One of the things that we've gotten a number of inquiries from in the last 2 years from our clients that are in Europe is searches for U.S. country managers. Why would you see that as important?
We do a lot of pre-deal advisory work, as I told you, and the investment thesis, even already at the deal stage, Eric, they're looking for go-to-market subsector advisors. And that's for 2 reasons, I would say. One, is obviously the US represents the largest technology market globally, and the go-to-market in the US is a key, quite often the key part of the investment thesis. The other bit is it being such a competitive and high-quality technology market. If your product succeeds in the US, you're getting that recognition of being an international product leader, and that actually just really opens up the globe for you. So I think those 2 reasons, the size of the market and the quality of the market, really, that is and it's a key part of the investment thesis for private equity. If you mastered your country, and how do you grow from there?
And absolutely, and I think that's one of the core attributes as to why our clients that went to Europe, their thesis was to buy European assets and scale them, the sales and marketing organization in the United States, because what we see as a scaled software company tends to be 50% US, 50% rest of world. And I think that's a major opportunity. You guys are a high quality search firm. Why do you think having presence in the US or having a US firm do that country manager search in the US is so important?
Sure. Listen, we're fully committed to being the best in our core European markets, right? It takes a lot of expertise. We've done a massive network build in our core markets. We've got 3 offices, like I said, and it needs the same kind of depth and breadth in the US, which we, and we're delighted to, I found you as a partner because, you have the same core values. You have, private equity relevance, deep sector expertise. You thrive on, your reason to be is client success, just like ours, and it's such a vast market, Eric. That domain expertise, that candidate knowledge, it requires deep talent due diligence, what we call it. You need a lot of resources, and I've worked in the US in the past, and while you think everybody speaks English, there's such distinct regional cultural differences which you just don't get sitting out here in Europe, right? You think they're just American, and they speak English. So we are driven by client success, and now we're excited about this partnership because we can recommend you without hesitation. So you want to go to market leadership in the US, here's our partner. They do this. They are as committed to client success as we are. And with both the breadth and depth of knowledge, which is critical.
Absolutely. And I think you really hit on one of our core values as being client-centric, doing right by the client, succeeding, and then expertise. And we get expertise by focus. It's focus on software, it's focus on private equity, and then it's actually focus on functions, which kind of leads me into the next piece. When we think about country managers, and I'm not a search professional who's been doing this for 25 years. I'm actually an operator, and I've done a number of country manager placements. And there's always this natural tension between what folks are after in the US, which is growth of sales and marketing. But in order to put that leader in place, you really need more of a general manager skill set. So Vivek, talk to me a little bit about what you see there in that tension of, hey, do I go after an operator, holistic general athlete, or do I go after that sales leader for the country?
You're talking about 2 different profiles, right? And I think using the English phrase horses for forces, you have to decide what you're going for. Is that sales leader stand out for go-to-market excellence, understanding of the value proposition, distribution channels, partnership channels, and leading an effective sales force. But the general manager is really establishing your base for future growth. If you ever think that that's going to become 50% of your future business, then that's what you want to be committing to, right? And that's a different skill set. You're now hiring strategic acumen because that's what's going to drive it, the vision for your market, with operational excellence, somebody having to set it up, financial insight, what are my resources, how am I going to deliver this, and building a well-balanced leadership team, because now you're creating a new regional focus, which is going to become, if, like you said earlier, 50% of your business. So that strong interpersonal and stakeholder management skill to manage that headquarter in Europe, but drive the expertise in your own local market, combining that, it will need that general manager. But if all you're trying to do is open the door and get into the market, then you might just be well served with a sales leader. So I think a little bit dependent on your investment thesis and your strategy and where you are on that curve. Many times you see people start with that sales leader and then have to backtrack and then go back and hire a general manager. And you say, wait a minute, you could have done it the other way around if you thought through your 5-year plan.
No, absolutely. And I think one of the key pieces you pointed out is leadership. And that's one of the things I think you can't sacrifice on, is whether it is a very strong go-to-market executive or it's someone who came up in the go-to-market roles that has the general management experience or capabilities. Either way, you need that strong leader because the tie to headquarters is so important. Talk to me a little about what you're seeing in terms of building that bridge with headquarters and leveraging the resources that headquarters has.
Yeah, and it's when we do European go-to-market searches for US-based businesses, is that getting that clarity first. Are we hiring a general manager, or are we hiring the go-to-market leader? It's about leadership, but there's nuanced differences. And the first thing is, have you thought that through? We provoke that. We'll have a conversation on that. That is going to be a foundation of your success. And then the next bit that we really want to have dialogue, this is already in the briefing, is it's a strategic decision. It will require commitment, and it's the Europe is very fragmented. Every market you enter for the headquarters is going to be new bit of complexity coming in, whether it's marketing, product mix, R&D, finance. You might want to think of Europe as regions. You've got Northern Europe, what we call we are drinking Europe. You've got Southern Europe, which is what we call wine drinking Europe. You've got Central Europe, but there are massive differences, language, and every time you enter a new region or a new country, you're adding that complexity. Think that through and commit to it. And that's, besides, of course, once you define that strategic piece, then you've got to go through the typical commercial strategy questions, right? Which is product market fit, context of the local and the headquarter market. Are you a leader or a follower in your positioning? How are you going to penetrate that market? What are resources? Because once you get that fuller frame into perspective, then you can, of course, give much better advice on the kind of leadership they need to hire for.
No doubt. So I think the key here is having a strategy, building into that, what the tactics and then how you're going to measure that is important. But I would say the overarching piece in all of that is very strong communication, ties. I think Zoom has been a fabulous tool for that. But I also think travel and in-person time is also really important as part of this starting a new country and developing the fabric between your satellite offices and headquarters.
You're so right, Eric. It's relationship, right? It builds on, eventually all sales are relationship sales. Yes, product is important, but you start from there. And I think once you've got that built, then any video calling method is great for keeping contact, but at the same time, it is really important to get that dialogue going in person.
No doubt. And I think entering a new market is a big commitment. And it's not just a month or a quarter. It's actually a several year commitment. And within that, I think KPIs and measuring what success looks like is so important. What's your experience with KPIs in setting up a satellite office or entering a new market?
I can give you my own personal experience, which is we've just opened a Paris practice. But, and we've got an outstanding managing partner there. But at the same time, she sets herself KPIs. And I think the same thing applies for the more markets, the more fragmentation you have in Europe, the more markets you're going to go for. It's really understand what you're trying to achieve per market, right? And then base your KPIs defined on those goals you're setting per market. Entering Germany, in a technology business where you might have a really good incumbent, or entering the Nordics where you may not have that, or vice versa. So you're going to have to address the market KPIs. So the specifics of the market will define it. Hey, and for private equity, they're fantastic at measuring value creation. You know that, I know that. And if and that's what we are always trying to define, Eric, in all our interviewing methodology. What's the value creation track record? How have they gone about doing this? And the more they've, proven their value creation track record with KPIs, is the easier the hire, really.
And absolutely. And I think as we talk about, it's not a month, it's not a quarter, it's actually a several year commitment. And I think understanding that is very important. I think building those KPIs and checkpoints is so important, because the other thing I've found is when you enter a new market, part of it is you need some flexibility, and you need to be able to assess and then course correct as you're going through that. And so I think really developing a strategy around the totality of your commitment to the market, creating those checkpoints is so important.
I'm just going to add to that, actually, and I'm just going to use a little phrase which I've learned from a outstanding software CEO. And he said, Vivek, think big, start small, and scale fast. And that's such a fantastic mantra, Eric, right? Where you've got that strategy piece thought of. You're thinking big, you know what you're doing, you've thought of the components, but you need to start small because you will be in agility counts. You will be learning. Once you enter the market, you'll be learning. And then the trick is getting your learnings and scaling. And I think the silver thread that binds you and me is finding the leadership who can do all three for you.
Yep. 100%. And that's why I love this, because we're at the heartbeat of some of the hottest PE firms who are investing in the hottest companies with big growth trajectories that, to me, and this is why I get up in the morning and do this, means we create more good jobs so people can feed their families and accomplish what they want to in life. And so it's fantastic. And I hope the same for our partnership, where we're thinking big, we're starting small, and we're executing like crazy. Vivek,
there you go. What a nice summary,
Eric. Thank you so much for joining us today on Tailored Talent. Look forward to hopefully having you back soon.
Terrific, Eric. It's been great. That was a nice, easy conversation. Thank you for hosting it.
Fantastic. Have a wonderful day.
And you too. Bye-bye.